Good morning. Per my video yesterday, we're not great, but we're a little better. A little late today, and I want to blame the technical difficulties, but I have to blame myself. I definitely fell behind this morning. So mental roadblocks, that's the topic of the day. The improvement, though, I previewed this. I set this up last night, so I was able to just show up and get things started, but I still was late. So we're going to make that progress. But mental roadblocks is what I wanted to cover today. And that's the thumbnail. The title kind of covers the difficulty those cause in your growth, right? And I actually call it something a little different. In my nomenclature, I call it brain blocks. I've been calling it brain blocks for years, but when I made that thumbnail, I thought, I'm not sure anyone's going to know what the hell I'm talking about, because brain blocks is my thing. And maybe you call it mental roadblocks. Maybe you have a different name for it. So what I'm trying to talk about with these mental roadblocks are things that you kind of want to do, but you just have no idea how it's possible. Like, you just, in your brain, you can't possibly comprehend how it works, even though you want to do it. And then you postpone it, and you miss out on that opportunity. So I've been trying to remove these brain blocks over the last few years, actually, for years now. But I just don't have necessarily a methodology to share. I'm just going to tell you what I go through and how I go about it, and I just tap into them a little bit. So the brain blocks that I've had over the last few years that I've been able to whack down. Mandarin, I touched on the title. Sailing, honestly, starting this YouTube channel. So let's just focus on those three. So for Mandarin, I just could not comprehend how that worked. Like, how do those characters become words, and the sounds and such that Mandarin, or just Chinese in general, include, and other Asian languages. Like, how is it possible? Like, in my brain, I just couldn't see the possibility of learning it. Like, you look at those characters and the thousands of them that exist. How could someone learn those? The only way I was able to process that was just to start playing around. And honestly, it was just little bits at a time. I just forced myself to be consistent, just like I'm doing on YouTube. And I forced myself to just kind of take one character, maybe get to 10, then I got to 20, got to 100, really repetitive practice to understand the concepts. And then the breakthrough, right? The breakthrough was that every one of those characters is broken up into pieces. So there are symbols for sky, and there are symbols for ground, there are symbols for man and woman. And then they pull those characters together and make a new character. When you start to understand the fundamental foundations of it, it becomes way easier. But I didn't get there in the beginning. I got there by just tapping into it and poking on it and practicing it. Sailing was kind of the same way. I never intended to sail across the ocean. Like, I didn't learn sailing to sail across the ocean. In fact, I'd be lying if I said sailing a boat across the ocean was a major goal of mine. It just happened. I tapped into sailing because I couldn't comprehend how the effing thing works. Like, specifically, and I shared this previously, how does a sailboat sail into the wind? And, like my immature brain thought sailboats had to sail with the wind behind them. Like, just as a kid, you just kind of can see that possibility. The wind's blowing the sail, you move. Like, just if you were holding something up, you'd move. But if the wind's coming at you, how the hell do you sail? But once you start learning the basics and how to set the sails, what you discover is you can sail into the wind. And I'm not talking directly into the wind. Just, you can never sail directly into the wind. You have to sail off it a little bit. Like I don't know what angle, but you sail off it a little bit and you're going faster than ever. Once you learn the foundations of it, you just start to clear these mental blocks away. And then honestly, the sailing becomes damn near easy. Of course, the fine tuning of sailing is where the difficulty comes in. And I'm going to put a whole video about that. Not that, but just the actual the fine tuning of every activity is where the magic is. But the foundations of sailing is pretty easy. And then, of course, the YouTube channel. Like in the beginning, huge brain block. I wanted to do this. I knew I was missing this. I've said before that YouTube, not YouTube necessarily, but video is the new public speaking. We raise our kids, and I was raised with the, public speaking is so important. You had to take that speech class. Everyone dreaded. I dreaded it too. I thought I kind of was fainting almost when I had to do a public speech in school. And everyone goes through this. And so you just practice so many ways to get that as a, up and coming young adult. There are opportunities to practice that. And then you get better and better and better. And then obviously for me, public speaking is now very easy because I do it on the regular. But YouTube and video is just a whole weird brain block. Like, how does the whole thing work? How does audio get captured with video on these proper cameras? I get the concept of a phone, obviously, but with the memory card and the audio and good mics and capturing it together and then editing, holy cow. Editing, honestly, was my latest brain block, mental roadblock, whatever you want to call it. I've talked on here about the challenge that I've had with just adding text to these videos. The last one that I posted yesterday had text. And if you're watching this and if you're paying attention to my struggle, look at that text when it pops up on the video and just know I put in the time to get that to work because I wanted to learn it, and I finally blocked everything out and really focused on just learning it. And I've gotten better with Premiere Pro, and I've taken multiple tutorials now. And now the beginner tutorials are easy for me, which is crazy. And I'm honestly enjoying it, which is also crazy. And so when you get rid of those brain blocks, when you whack them down, the freedom is there. Like, the growth is there. I can comfortably sail now. I can be a captain of my own crew, like I have all the certifications that are necessary to charter a boat and head out. And I have all the experience necessary to be out there on the ocean too, which is unbelievable. And I have basic Mandarin. I can communicate at a super basic level. Honestly, I'll admit I've kind of pushed Mandarin aside for now, but I was able to communicate with someone who didn't speak any English. And it was one of the best moments of my life that I was able to have that conversation on a vacation. And then this YouTube thing, like, I feel like I'm finally breaking through. The quality isn't necessarily where I want it yet, but the progress is there. The consistency is there. I understand how it works. And now I really am focused on just improving that quality and then trying to get a little better, like I said on that video yesterday. So what are your brain blocks? And, just think about, like, what do you want to do that is there and you just, like, can't imagine how you could do it, or you can't imagine that you could be that person. You can't imagine that you can participate in that club. What are they? And pay attention to them, and then just commit to going after it. You only have to, like, pick at it. But you have to pick at it consistently. If you just mess with it and then that's it, of course it's not going to go away. You're not going to solve that by just touching it. You have to really consistently, persistently push on it. And then it's going to start clearing away, and you're going to be like, oh my God, it's not that hard. Like, it just blows your mind, blows my mind at least. So that's my live 9 at 9 today. I'm doing better, like my video said yesterday, and I'd love you to check it out. You making a little bit improvements. I'm now teeing these up the night before. I actually, on another one of my channels, got a notification to watch out for this, which is good. I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to be on time, and I'm going to put out a couple more videos this week so that I can continue to practice editing. And I'm going to continue to focus on the whole point of this, building that community for folks that want to get into tech consulting and learn more about my space and challenge themselves to take on whatever they want to do in life. All right, checking out. We'll talk tomorrow.